Hi, Neil Sean here. Welcome back to On This Day and what truly happened on this day in the world of history. Now this will make you rethink, because for me I was kind of stunned by this story because, well, when you think about it, it's one of the most famous pictures in the world. A gentleman called Ian Macmillan took this picture on this day in 1969. What am I talking about? This one. Now we all know this picture, don't we? Now I've been lucky enough to meet Sir Paul McCartney, and I asked him about this particular picture, and he told me that it was really just a fun idea. You know, it was never meant to be iconic or have a long-lasting status. I also pointed out, well, when did you realise it was taking off? And he said, well, it really kind of more or less after the album, that sort of stuff, people started popping up on the zebra crossing. But it truly took off in the 70s. I think people then had more Instamatic cameras, there was more availability, and of course let's not forget it was a lot less traffic on that particular stretch of Marylebone. Abbey Road Studios, if you come to London, well worth a visit. So much history, so many people have recorded there, from my favourites like the Beatles, Helen Shapiro, Queen, so many more. And you know, just to wander around the studios, and I've been lucky enough, I can point out, to actually record in Abbey Road. So I will share that story one day soon. Back as ever though to other stories that happened on this day. Today in the United States, the resignation of the US President Nixon. Faced with a near certain prospect of impeachment for his role in the Watergate scandal, the US President Nixon announced his resignation on this day and was succeeded by who? Gerald Ford the very next day. That's politics. In 1992, the US men's Olympic basketball team, which had been dubbed the Dream Team because of the all-star cast of NBA players, that included Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They easily defeated Croatia to win the gold medal at the Barcelona Games. How many remember that? I do. Also, in 1981, the Swiss tennis player Roger Federer, he became regarded, of course, as one of sport's greatest tennis players, was born on this day in 1981. Day 1963, you may remember this particular story, the story of the Great Train Robbery, which was all about the 2.6 million which was stolen from the Glasgow to London Royal Mail train near Bridgego Bridge in north of London. It was dubbed the Great Train Robbery by the media of the time, and of course there's been numerous documentaries. I guess the most famous person associated with the Great Train Robbery would have been Ronnie Biggs. And then of course there was a major film made in the late 80s all about Buster Edwards, which starred the brilliant musician and of course singer, songwriter, former member of Genesis, and Dame Julie Walters in Buster. Great film if you've not seen it. Now, way back in 1907, a gentleman that sadly has been forgotten, but hopefully today will be remembered at least for a short period. The jazz musician Benny Carter, an original, if nothing else, an influential alto saxophonist who was also a masterly composer and arranger, plus an important band leader of the time. And if that wasn't enough, he could play the trumpet and the clarinet too. And he was born on this day in New York City. Finally, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, that's right, just a couple of seconds to rush to your wardrobe, grab that small bikini. Oh, come on, you can still get into it. Of course you can, because on this day in 1960, Brian Highland was #1 with, that's right, Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. You're all waving now. You'll be singing that all day, won't you? That was, of course, #1 in 1960, went to #1 again in the 90s, all thanks to the children's TV presenter Timmy Mallet, and that song was produced by none other than Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is your news on this day in history, live from London. I'm Neil Sean, and I'll see you next time for more fun facts.